Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely demystify Windows command shell programming. And honestly, we're going to turn what looks like dry, boring syntax into your absolute ultimate automation toolkit. I am super excited to get into this because understanding the command shell, it's basically like getting the master keys to your operating system.
Let's just be honest for a second and start with a really crucial question. How much time do you actually waste on manual, repetitive computer tasks? Just think about it. Clicking through the exact same folders, copying the exact same files, configuring the exact same settings week after week. While the entire purpose of automation is turning those deeply tedious manual jobs into a single-click execution. And today, we're going to learn exactly how to pull that off.
Here is our roadmap for today. We have 6 parts. 1. The magic of automation. 2. Script setup and comments. 3. Variables and user input. 4. Logic, flow, and loops. 5. Advanced operations and errors. And finally, 6. Batch scripting best practices.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the magic of automation, turning multi-step jobs into one click.
So, what exactly is command shell programming? Often we just call it shell scripting. It's simply the process of writing a sequence of text-based commands into a single plain text file to automate tasks within an operating system. The really crucial takeaway here is that the shell acts as your interactive interpreter. It literally sits there, intercepts the text instructions you write, and passes them directly to the operating system kernel. Basically, you're bypassing all those graphical menus in Windows to speak directly to the machine itself.
Moving right along to Section 2, Script Setup and Comments, keeping it clean and readable. Every great operating table needs a clean, organized setup, right? Well, when you look at the anatomy of a well-written script, you'll immediately notice the very first lines are dedicated to setting up the environment and leaving notes. This is how you document what your code is actually doing, which is absolutely vital so your future self, or maybe a teammate, actually understands what you were trying to build.
Now you'll see 2 different ways to write these comments, both of which the execution engine completely ignores. First, there's rem. That's the old MS-DOS legacy form. It totally works, but it's kind of outdated. Then, there's the double colon. This is the modern, favored form. It's faster to execute, a breeze to type, and honestly, it's just much easier to visually separate from your normal commands when you're quickly scanning down a page of code. Remember though, batch files don't have multi-line comment types, so every comment line needs its own double colon.
Right after your comments, almost every professional script kicks off with the exact same command, @echo-off. This does something really important. It turns off the display of the command itself, keeping your terminal output incredibly clean. You only see the results, not the messy mechanics behind the scenes. And pro tip, you'll usually pair this with a pause command at the very end of your file. That halts execution and forces the user to press a key, so the window doesn't just instantly close before you can even read what happened.
Let's tackle Section 3, Variables and User Input, creating the script's memory.
Okay, so a script that just runs the exact same static commands is fine, but to make it truly powerful, it needs to remember dynamic data, like a storage box that adapts every single time you run it. We define that memory using the set command, and the cool part, when we want to pull that memory back out, we just reference the variable by wrapping its name in percent signs, like %username%.
The set command is literally an absolute powerhouse in your toolkit. You use plain set to create standard dynamic text variables, throw in a /A switch when you need to handle arithmetic, like adding a couple numbers together, but my favorite is the /P switch. That prompts the user interactively. It actually pauses your script and asks the user a direct question like, hey, enter a name for the new folder.
All right, Section 4, Logic, Flow, and Loops, giving the script a brain.
This is where things get genuinely fun. We're moving from a simple checklist to an intelligent workflow. We do this by introducing if and else conditional blocks to evaluate whether something is true or false, and then using loops right below that to repeat actions.
Let's break down a conditional workflow. Step 1, the script asks the user, create backup folder, Y or N. Step 2, if the user input is Y, it jumps right into creating the folder. Step 3, else, it skips folder creation entirely. Now, here's a massive tip that will save you hours of debugging. Always wrap your strings in double quotes when evaluating user input. If you don't, and the user just hits enter, leaving an empty input, your script will throw a fatal syntax error and crash.
And when we need to process multiple files in a directory, or maybe count numbers sequentially from 1 to 5, we bring in the for loop. It is basically your script's automated assembly line. But please pay super close attention to this one catch. Loop variables use a single % when you run them directly in the command line interface, but they require double % when you run them inside a batch file. Forgetting that second % is easily one of the most common reasons a beginner's script fails out of nowhere.
Let's level up with Section 5, Advanced Operations and Errors. Plumbing and Error Management.
To orchestrate all this safely, we need to handle the plumbing, how data flows and how we link programs. The single greater than sign redirects and completely overwrites output to a file. But the double greater than is amazing because it safely appends output to the end of an existing file without destroying what's already there. Then we have the pipe character, which sends output from one command directly as input into the next. For conditional linking, the double ampersand executes a second command only if the first one succeeds, while the double pipe executes the second command only if the first one fails. That's how we chain things without missing a beat.
Now, because batch scripting is so lightweight, it actually lacks native functions like you'd find in Python or JavaScript. But we can totally simulate them. We do this by creating labels. Just put a colon before a word, like :log message, and then we trigger it using the call command. You can even pass arguments to these labels. The absolute key here, though, is using exit/b at the end of your simulated function. That /b tells the engine to just exit that specific subroutine and go back to the main flow instead of accidentally killing your entire script.
Of course, things will eventually go wrong. When they do, we immediately check a built-in system variable called error level. Almost every single application spits out an exit code when it finishes running. A 0 means total success. Any non-zero number, that means failure. So if you write a script to ping a server, checking that error level immediately after is how your script gracefully decides if the host is down, rather than just silently crashing.
Which brings us to our final stop. Section 6. Batch Scripting Best Practices. Writing professional scripts.
Before you run off to build your own toolkit, let's lock down a few essential rules of the road. Follow these, and your scripts will run beautifully on any Windows machine. First, always quote your paths, like C/myfolder, to stop errors caused by folder names that have blank spaces. Second, make your IF statements case-insensitive by adding the /I switch. That way it doesn't matter if a user types a capital Y or a lowercase y. Third, keep your variables localized using setLocal and nLocal so your script's memory doesn't permanently pollute the main Windows environment. And finally, always check those error levels immediately after execution.
You now understand the true anatomy of a command shell script. It's time for you to explore the Windows commands reference and start automating your world. So I have to ask you, what tedious multi-step job are you going to turn into a single-click automation today? You've got the tools, you've got the structure, and now you have the knowledge. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy scripting.